You can hear me?
No.
Okay, cool. Good morning.
Hi.
Your honeymoon, how's it going?
Oh, it was great. We came back yesterday about 2:45, so we're recovering.
Okay. And your pictures came out beautiful.
And those were just the previews. We haven't even gotten the full album back yet. There was like 40 pictures in that preview, and I'm like, okay, dang, I didn't expect this many, because when we did our engagement photos, I think we got maybe a dozen. So I was really shocked when we got like 40 of them, but I absolutely love them. I love my photographer so much. She's amazing.
They did really well. Oh, okay. So, Dustin, Emily P, Dustin.
Hi, Emily,
Nice to
too.
finally meet you. Hello.
She is a podcast listener. She listens to our podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
I know, because I've seen her show up on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
I run the socials, so I've seen you pop up on several things.
Oh, yeah. I pretend to be a part of the youths and just, I'm on TikTok, but mostly it's a stress reliever more than anything else. And I'll just feign ignorance whenever the kids make a TikTok reference, just because it's like, I don't need to out myself right now.
I'm pushing close to 40, and I'm always on TikTok.
So am I. After work, usually, yeah.
I feel like I've just not grown up.
Hey, according to my sister, who has a little saying like, if you grow up too quickly, you become old and boring. So you're doing it right. You're doing it better than most people.
I feel old, like, for sure, physically.
Yeah, I get that. I say that, and I'm probably the youngest one on this call, but I act very
for sure you are.
Yes.
I say 25, almost 26, like I'm old, but it's seriously, like, I think I woke up, it was like the day before my wedding, and my knee was just like, yeah, this is what getting close to 30 feels like. I'm like, great. And the day before my wedding, too. Thanks a lot.
Oh, no.
Oh, Tasha knows all about the knee thing.
Yes, I do. She see me limping around the school. She knows.
Yeah. Did you take your cane to school?
I did. For a while, I did, yeah.
You're so old.
So funny, Dustin. Now, my son, they happened upon the cane the other day, and they started hobbling around with it, holding their back, and they're like, look, I'm a grandpa. And they started just wobbling around.
Don't you love it when kids have the ability to just absolutely roast you and they don't even mean to?
Exactly.
Oh, man. I don't know if you heard. I think I said it on one of our episodes of the podcast, but her middle kid came up to me one day, and I'm going bald on top. And I know he didn't mean it the way that he said it, but he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, did you get a haircut or did your hair fly away?"
Let's go with the fly away, buddy.
I was like, thanks, man.
Gotta love kids, because they'll just be so brutally honest. And they don't even care.
Yeah, they will.
Especially high schoolers. Tasha and I both teach the same grade level, and the grade level that we teach, I thought I didn't have a filter. They literally have zero, like, negative amount of filter. They do not care at all.
Oh, yeah.
They really don't.
They really do not. They're good kids, but I'm like, I may be this many years older than you, but y'all seriously make me feel really old, and you also make me not want to have children anytime soon. Plus, they're little weird. Hearts. I love them.
I feel like my filter's been going away more and more as I've gotten older. Like, I feel like when I was younger, I was constantly like, okay, I should watch my mouth. I shouldn't say certain things, whatever. But now as I'm getting older, I feel like I'm hitting that point where I'm like, fuck it, let's see where this goes.
My filter just slips away by accidents because I swear my foot is in my mouth most of the time. Usually works out for me, but most of the time I'm just like, I don't really care. I'm just going to be perfectly honest. And I'm perfectly honest with the kids too. I usually watch my language, but if they ask me a stupid question, I will give them the answer that they are looking for. It's like, well, you asked.
Maybe they're just
Yeah,
oblivious.
I never had teachers that were super blunt like that.
I do it enough to where I don't get in trouble. Like, I have the teeny tiniest filter, at least with them. But like I said, if you ask me a question and you really want the answer, I'm going to be like, well, you asked. Usually that shuts them down pretty quickly.
Yeah. All right, Tasha, you want to hit us with the intro?
Yes. Welcome to What M Dreams. I am one of your hosts, Tasha, and I'm here with
Dustin.
and special guest
Emily P., also known as Emily 2, according to Dustin.
Emily P., formerly Emily R. She just got married.
As of 6 days ago, which when you said Emily P. when I first got on, I'm like, oh, that's going to take some getting used to. I love hearing it, but that's going to take some getting used to.
Yep, and now you got to go through and change all of your legal documents. And
thank God summer break is coming up, which I love when people complain that teachers get the summers off. It's like, we do all the things that we can't do during the school year because we literally have zero time to do anything else.
I know, right?
So, yeah, catch me this summer sitting up at the Social Security office trying not to lose my mind.
I remember those days.
Apparently it gets better. I don't know. All the bureaucratic paperwork nonsense. I'm just like, do I really have to change my name? And then I look down at my ring finger. It's like, oh, yeah, I do.
I guess. Yeah.
I'm never doing the whole marriage thing. Just not a thing.
Planning a wedding is an absolute nightmare because there are so many moving pieces. And then at the end of the day, I'm not kidding, I remember everything of the day of the wedding, but it went by so ridiculously fast. Like, as soon as I got into the car and we were driving away, I'm like, that's it? Seriously? 9 months of planning and it goes by in the blink of an eye. And I'm like, well, at least I got something out of it, but good grief.
Right.
At least I got this new guy.
I know, and he makes it all worth it. But seriously though, you are not missing anything, at least planning a wedding, because I did let Steven help with some things, and he wanted to help with some things. Like, he designed our wedding website, he handled all the groomsmen stuff, there's a couple other things he did, but I'm still in post-wedding haze, so I don't remember exactly everything. But he did help, which I was very thankful for. And my mother helped with a lot of the stuff because she's retired. She used to work for the schools as a speech pathologist, and she's retired. So I literally, as soon as I got engaged, I said, hey, I work all day, and also I suck at phone calls. You want to help?
Was she happy to help?
Oh, absolutely. There were a few of her friends were like, she's letting you help with the wedding? That's amazing. And my response to any time someone said that was, yeah, I work all the time and my schedule sucks. So I need help. I at least know when to ask for help.
Yeah, man.
Luckily, we don't have similar tastes, but she knew what I wanted, so it was really easy. I was just like, thanks, Mom. I don't have time for this. Please help. Everything else was fine. We tried this on a budget, but I think the second most expensive thing was the photographer, which we won't even get into how expensive that was, but it was worth it. The pictures are great.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the photographer though, because a friend of ours wanted me to her baby's baptism later today, actually.
Oh, fun.
But I told her no because I'm super salty. She didn't ask me to do her wedding. She didn't ask me to do her engagement. She didn't ask me to do any of her pregnancy photos or anything like that. Instead, she got some other guy to do it, and she was disappointed every single time. And now she's asked me to do the baptism, and I was like, you know what? No.
It's like
Nope.
missed opportunity. You had your
You should
chance.
ask me to. You should ask me to do the other stuff.
Right? Especially if you know someone, like a friend of ours. Whenever I had my engagement, a friend of ours that Stephen and I both know, he did our engagement photos, and I'm like, I didn't know you were a photographer. The man that like did our stuff, he plays guitar. I think he plays banjo. There's a couple of other instruments that he plays. He does it all. And then when I was getting engaged, I found out that he did photography, and I'm like, well, I learned something about you every single day, I swear.
Sounds a lot like me, actually. I play guitar also, several instruments.
That's what I was
He's an
thinking.
interesting guy. And I'll mention a very funny story that I was very much witness to. So literally, my husband and I get home and we get a text message from our friend, and it says, hey, everything was great today. By chance, do you have the wedding coordinator's phone number? And then he sends a follow-up text message, and it says, I was gonna ask her out at the wedding, but I chickened out. We unashamedly sent the number because we're like, all right, let's see where this goes. Shoot your shot, buddy. I did do some investigating beforehand to make sure that the wedding coordinator was single. The problem was I couldn't tell. She hadn't updated her social media in a while. So I was like,
oh man,
well, this is just a shot in the dark. So good luck.
you might have just said a future marriage, man.
Be real cute if they were.
I just don't know how I feel like him asking her over the phone or something like that for the first time, because you had an opportunity to ask in person, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you pass up that opportunity, that's a big missed opportunity.
It is. And I mean, part of his reasoning was he's like, she was busy. I agree. If I was being romanced over the phone, I don't think I would have really been wooed very easily. But I mean, bless his heart. He was trying to be a gentleman, but bless his heart. Like, seriously.
As a guy, I can say that when I was much younger, I'm sure this guy's probably around your age.
He is.
I did find it harder to ask women out than I do now. Mostly because it's like back then I was super self-conscious. Now I'm at that point where it's just like, I don't care. It's whatever.
I cannot wait to get to that point in life where I'm just like, I don't really care.
Yeah. It's very freeing.
I think I was in college, and I'm like, you know what? I really do not care. This is amazing. Where was this when I was in high school? Maybe I wouldn't have gotten diagnosed with anxiety.
God, high school was so bad. I was super shy in high school.
Really interesting. I didn't get the shy vibe from you.
That's what
I'm
I
not
told
anymore.
him. I did not picture him as shy.
It always took having like somebody coming to me before I would come out of my shell. I've gotten well over that.
Well, that's good. Yeah. I was never, ever shy. Big shocker there. I was never the kid who got like in trouble for talking too much. To this day, I still think I could make friends with a wall and be perfectly fine. Tasha's seen it. Sometimes if I get on a rant or if I just get on a topic, I don't shut up. Probably some form of undiagnosed ADD or ADHD or whatever they're calling it now.
Who knows?
If you don't have a running dialogue in your head and it's actually quiet in there, I don't want to be friends with you. You're boring.
No, well, I don't trust those people. They're psychopaths.
I know,
Right?
seriously. It's like, how do you not have an inner monologue? That's weird.
Yeah, I'm constantly thinking about something.
Same.
I think that's why my sleep schedule is such a nightmare, because one night I'll be perfectly fine, and then the next night I'm like, I got a list of really not important things that I need to do.
I got a list of
so I don't
worries.
forget it. I know, seriously. It's like, worry number 1, worry number 2. It's like counting sheep, but they're anxiety-riddled sheep.
Do you have anxiety dreams?
Nice segue.
Yeah, that is a nice segue. Not very often. And like Tasha, I'm not kidding. My anxiety dreams recently have been something happening to me while I'm at work. And I'm like, oh, what does that say about my job if I'm having anxiety dreams about my job?
Right.
And it's weird. There's one person who keeps popping up in the dream, and it's our principal secretary. I don't know why she keeps popping up in the dream. And she's a nice person. I'm not like scared of her or anything. She's just very intimidating because she's a busy person and she has so many things to do and so many things to juggle. But the last 2 anxiety dreams that I've had that have been took place at work, she was in them and I was getting fired. Like, it was our principal secretary walking up to me and saying, "You're fired." And I'm like, but I didn't do anything. What's going on?
Oh no.
Oh no.
I know, seriously. And it's like, what on earth did I do? And funny enough, Tasha, none of y'all were there. The only person who was there was our principal secretary. I don't know why no one else was there.
That is true.
So not
for me. Yeah, it's weird because very few people that I know will show up in my dreams. Most of the time it's like random people that apparently my brain likes to make up.
It's interesting because I think I'm about a 50-50 mix.
That is interesting. Yeah, most of the people who show up in my dreams, I have no idea who they are. They're fictional, at least to me. And it's extremely rare if I will have a dream that people I know show up in. It's very odd. I don't understand it.
Interesting.
It does feel odd. Yeah.
So it's funny that Dee Dee would show up. Yeah.
I don't get it. And I don't interact with her on a daily basis. So I'm like, why are you in my dream? What did I do? Is this foreshadowing of something? Last I checked, I'm not psychic, but is this foreshadowing or whatever?
Premonition-ish. No, I doubt it.
I
just an anxiety dream.
Oh, I'm sure I definitely have premonition-ish dreams. They haven't happened yet, but I get really weird gut feelings. So I'm like, well, here we go.
Yeah. I wonder if she's just a representation of, like, for some reason in your mind, you've made that connection for being a person that's responsible for your anxiety in some way. Maybe there's some kind of connection there that you've made subconsciously.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Because I'm definitely one of those people at work that's like, listen, I'm going to do my job and I'm going to mind my business. And if I do something stupid, let's hope nobody sees it.
Yeah. Same here. I try to stay off the radar.
I know, seriously. I definitely don't give off main character energy. I am not the main character. I'm just the person who likes to hang out in the wings and just mind her own business.
Exactly. Same
This
here.
is not my show.
I do not want to be in the spotlight.
Oh, it was so weird with the wedding to be in the spotlight. I'm like, I don't want to be. And my maid of honor was like, you have to be. It's your wedding. I'm like, but do I have to? Really?
You pulled it off beautifully.
Oh, well, thank you. But yeah, no, I don't really have anxiety dreams. Most of my dreams end up turning into something else completely, which is, apparently I'm not the only one who has these types of dreams, but my dreams end up turning into story ideas more often than not, which is
Oh yeah.
one of my hobbies. I like to jokingly say I'll be a published author, ... someday.
I'm right there with you on that one.
It's just procrastination is so easy, and I work, and now I'm
Oh, man.
married, and I've got so many other things to take care of. One of
Tell
my
me
goals for
about
this,
it.
I know, seriously,
You
one of
are
my goals.
preaching to the choir.
I know. My story dreams, they usually come to me fully formed. And if it's really good, I will remember it. I think like 3 of the story ideas that I have came to me in a dream, fully formed. I knew who did it, what happened, whole plot structure and everything. And I managed to remember it, which was amazing.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I know, seriously, my brain works complete and total overtime, so that's probably why I have terrible sleep problems. Because it will not shut up.
All of my story ideas from dreams is just like the intro to a story. That's always what it is. It's just like, this is the beginning, the setup to a story. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I like that. Let's see where that goes. And then I never do anything with it.
Yeah, no, literally, I'm looking at my Google Drive right now because I made the switch from Word to Google Drive finally, just because it auto saves. That's literally the only reason.
Woo!
And I have things in 2 separate folders. I have current project, and then I have a folder called back burner projects, where either really good ideas go to simmer for a little bit, or a lot of ideas go to die because I have so many. Those poor things don't see the light of day very often, but whenever I get a new idea, I'll open up the folder and they're like, you've returned to come and work on this. It's like, no, I'm just adding another one to the folder. I'm really sorry.
Sorry, guys.
It's like, you're gonna have
Maybe
to keep
another
simmering
time.
back here. I know, seriously. It's like, don't boil over back here. Just sit here, simmer, enjoy your life. Don't die.
I wrote 2 full like screenplays. One, the friend group that we had at the time, and then I wrote another one about the Mandela effect. And literally, it's been sitting in a folder on my laptop for 6 years now. And I had also started writing a book that Tasha's read. I think basically the first third of it I've written. I think Tasha's read all of that, and I haven't worked on that in probably 6 years. And then Tasha and I were writing something, and she hasn't fulfilled her side of it.
That one's under a rock. I wouldn't say he's gone there to die, but I broke up with him a while back.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling we'll get back together someday.
I hope so, because I wrote the first 2 chapters for you. And then I was like, here you go. And you did absolutely nothing with it.
I know. I'm bad.
I was so mad. I was like, I put so much effort into this.
I'm just
I really
idealistic.
I liked the character. I liked the world that we were setting up. I liked what I had written. And then I was like, okay, your turn.
And then it just shrivels up and dies a little bit.
It's been her turn for 2 years now.
Okay, it's a raisin. Okay, he's not dead.
That's one crusty raisin if it's 2 years old.
Has it really been 2 years? Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
See, that's actually becoming more of a trend where books are being co-written by 2 authors. I love the people that I am really close with, and like writer friends and stuff like that. And I'm a very giving person, but I feel like when it comes to a writing idea, I would be super selfish and be like, this is my idea. Back off. I don't trust you with it. Yes, I realize we've known each other since we were 10. I don't care. Your grammatical structure is terrible and you don't believe in the Oxford comma. You are not touching my draft.
Oh,
Get on.
you're speaking my language, the Oxford comma. Oh my God.
Tell them to shoot. Mine.
I know, seriously. It's like, I'm very giving. I'm very caring. I will give you the shirt off my back, but if you touch my draft, I will kill you. That's why it's in a locked laptop. You can't touch it. It's mine.
So, have you had any dreams this week?
I haven't had one this week, and I think that's just because I'm adjusting to sleeping in the same bed as somebody, and we were also traveling, so my sleep schedule was all over the place. My most recent dream that I can remember was actually another story idea, and this one I do want to do something with because it's too good not to. But it was another one that came like fully formed, and it's a mystery, which Tasha could go on and on about. Literally, that's my only genre. Apparently, I'm just a one-trick pony. I will just read mystery, thriller, YA mystery and thriller. If it has mystery or thriller or somebody dies in it, I will read it.
Nice.
It's a good genre.
It really is, and it never gets boring because you think you know who it is, and then if they're a really good author, they'll plant several red herrings. They'll make you think it's one person and then make you think it's another one, and then right at the end, when you're like 3 or 4 pages from the end, they'll pull the rug out from underneath you, and then when you finish, you just casually throw the book across the room screaming, "Excuse me, what?" Like, how dare you? The most recent one I had was another novel idea, and I think this one, I'm actually getting into YA horror a little bit more because mystery and horror are starting to bleed together. Even in the adult genre, they're starting to bleed together a little bit more. So that most recent dream would turn into a YA horror just because I don't think it's light enough to be a thriller. It's kind of dark. I mean, it has a serial killer in it, so
Yeah.
I've read several like thriller stuff that have like a serial killer in it, but I'm like, this one, I don't know where this one came from. Apparently I was stressed about something because, oh my God, this is brutal. My stress is manifesting as some kind of horror fueled nightmare project. And I was like, ooh, that's interesting. I'm not terrified by this. That's actually really interesting. So that probably says something about my subconscious that I find serial killers completely and totally fascinating and not terrifying at all.
The public in general is starting to move that way with true crime documentaries and podcasts and things like that on Netflix and everything. I think just in general, we're all moving toward that fascination.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely, the only types of podcasts that I listen to, they're like either fictional and they usually have a twist of horror in them, or true crime podcasts. And Tasha and I, when I found out Tasha listens to one of my favorite podcasts, it's called Morbid Podcast. I screamed. I'm like, oh, I finally have someone I can talk to about this podcast because they talk about the most brutal cases, and then they'll go and call the serial killer an absolute piece of human garbage or garbage water or the most creative insults. And I'm like, I love these people. They are fantastic. And one of the co-hosts, one of the co-hosts actually wrote a book, and it's a mystery / it's slightly horror filled because one of the main characters is a medical examiner, and then the other main character is a serial killer. And she has another one coming out, and I'm so excited for the second book. I literally pre-ordered the paperback edition, even though I already have a hardback edition, because the paperback is going to come with a preview of the next book. So
nice.
I was immediately like, just take my money. Just take all of it. I need to read. I need to read this second book. And she's actually one of my inspirations for my writing habits, because her first book took her 5 years to write and get published. And I'm actually re-listening to the whole series with my husband since we're married. I was like, oh, I can introduce you to this amazing podcast. And I think we were on there's over 500 episodes. And there was, I think it was episode 20 something, she mentioned the book. And I'm like, oh, even in 2018, you had no idea your book is going to become such a big deal. I'm so proud of you. Morbid podcast, if you're into true crime. I think that's the best one.
I mentioned them a couple of times on this podcast. They're actually one of my inspirations for this podcast because they're just so casual. And I just love that.
I love that too, because whenever you first told me about it, I'm like, I wonder where she got that idea from, because it used to be a while ago that everyone was like, oh, I have a podcast. Oh, I do too. What's yours about? It's about social media, or it's about watching some show on Bravo or whatever. For a while there, everyone had a podcast. But when you said that, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I want to do a podcast.
And me and Dustin feel the same way about our voices.
About our own voices, yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
I can't stand my voice.
Me either.
I'm curious how mine sounds. I know how my voice sounds on audio, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, Tasha, you sound exactly the same as you do in person, and you sound fine.
Yay.
And Dustin, we've never met, but
you sound terrible.
I know I do.
Just kidding.
I have a mental image in my mind of what you possibly look like, and I should have done some investigating ahead of time. But
I guarantee you, it's not what you're picturing.
When I was younger and we would all used to listen to the radio, and you had those morning talk shows, I would picture what those people look like, and then I would see pictures of them, and I'm like, you.
This is not them.
Yeah. No, this isn't you. You don't look like what I pictured you to look like. You definitely are the type of person who has a voice for radio, but you do not have the face for television.
Yeah, I did the same thing when I was little. I was like, well, I did the same thing for the Kid Craddock morning show.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know what they looked like until maybe, I don't even know how many years after listening to them. And when I first saw them, I was like, you look wrong. This is wrong. This is not you.
It's like something's off. This is weird. I don't understand what's going on here. What's happening?
That's what we all get for having an overactive imagination.
Exactly.
Yeah, seriously. Completely seriously. I think it was the same thing with me. There was a morning show that we always listened to, and whenever they posted pictures, I was like, I thought you were a brunette. Your voice gave off very brunette vibes. I say that, and I'm like, I have no idea. I'm just guessing. You give off having a beard, which I'm probably wrong.
No, I do have a beard right now, actually.
Oh, that's hilarious. Because seriously, all I picture is a dude with a nice beard. That's what I picture.
I don't know about nice, but it's a beard. It's very gray right now.
Yeah, something about getting old, apparently.
Yeah, I need to shave it off.
But then my image
so
will
gray.
Change.
Well,
and now I'm gonna have to imagine you without a beard.
And you don't want to do that.
Are you one of those people that if you don't have facial hair, you're very baby face?
Baby face.
No, I'm ugly face.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Shut up, Dustin.
But yeah, I'm glad my guess of you was correct. You don't wear glasses, do you?
No.
Okay, then that part of my image of you is wrong. At least I got the facial hair part. That's a pretty big, like, pretty good guess. But the glasses
Yeah,
part, I
she
was
was.
like,
Emily is like, good, because that would be wrong.
It's fine. If you got those little fake glasses that everybody likes to wear, like I'm wearing blue light glasses right now. So, I mean, those work.
I need to invest in a pair.
Oh, they're good. I got mine on Amazon and I absolutely love them. My headaches have significantly decreased because I keep the fluorescents that are above my desk in my classroom off, and fluorescents are the devil. I hate those things so much because they make the room look disgusting no matter how brand new the bulbs are. But I keep them turned off, and the kids are like, Miss, why are these front lights off and ours on? I'm like, I get headaches. Leave me alone. It's like when you're old like me, you'll realize that lights hurt. And you may realize that for more than one reason. Either you don't like them or you've had something that makes you not like them. Just get yours on Amazon. They're great. They're worth it.
It's funny, I did glasses that I bought for a Halloween costume several years ago, but a friend that I was talking about earlier that wanted me to shoot her baby's baptism stole them because she thought that they looked better on her.
I don't like her. She sounds not so pleasant.
Yeah, she's all right.
There you go. She's one of those people where it's just like, we're friends, but it's like, but sometimes I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. I actually, it was funny. I texted her the other day and I was sick and I'm sick and it's your fault. And she was like, why? I was like, because you asked me to shoot your baby's baptism and you made me all nervous and I got sick to avoid it. And she was like, really?
Usually I just make up an excuse of, oh, I have a migraine, when in actuality I usually do.
Yeah.
Definitely one of those people where if I'm just like, my social battery is absolutely dead, I will make up the stupidest excuse to get out of something. I'm like, and it's always the same one. It's like, I have a headache. I got to get new material because
I've got banana bread in the oven.
there you go.
Me and Steven have plans.
Steven wants to stay in for a night. I've got a whole new set of excuses because now I have a whole new person I can blame it on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just don't let them talk to him.
No. But of the two of us, I'm definitely the more social one, which is fine. I don't mind being the social one, but very rarely I'm just like, I don't want to do anything. Don't make me do anything. I'm not a pleasant person to be around. Whenever my social battery has dropped, I will just stare at you and it's like, okay, filter's gone, so tread lightly there, buddy. Luckily that's not very often. I'm not a very unpleasant person, at least I don't think I am, but
You are a pleasant person.
I appreciate.
You can't always trust everything Tasha says, though, because she's kind of a people pleaser.
What?
How dare you, Dustin?
Tasha likes to be liked.
I do like to be liked.
We still love you. Or do we?
Yeah, I could take her or leave.
Oh, ouch. Okay. I'll just casually back slowly away and let you two have a conversation about your friendship. All right.
Nah, she knows I'm kidding.
Oh, of course.
Oh, Dusty.
Don't call me Dusty.
Dusty over here.
I'm so sorry. That's adorable.
I almost called him Dusty Dinkelman. I forget where that's from.
That's from Just Friends.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The rival to Ryan Reynolds' character in that that movie.
It's a rom-com.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can get down with that. I can tolerate rom-coms to an extent, but if it's got Ryan Reynolds, then I'm good.
Look, I'm as straight as most guys, but when it comes to Ryan Reynolds, like I'll watch him do anything.
There's a few celebrities that I have that are like that. Emma Stone is one of them for me. Definitely. It's like I don't care what you do. I just want to watch you do it.
Yeah. That reminds me, Tasha, you sent me a video.
Yeah, a trailer.
Emma Stone's gonna be in a new movie.
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but it looks really interesting. Like it gives like God, I'm saying things that kids say. It's giving like Frankenstein vibes.
Okay. Is it called Poor Things?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, not me having my computer open and casually just searching while we're talking. Just so I know.
When I saw that trailer, I didn't know who it was until it said Emma Stone, and I was like, "Oh shit, that is Emma Stone."
Yeah.
Right?
It's also got Mark Ruffalo, right? And
I know
Willem
who you're
Dafoe.
thinking.
Yes.
It's definitely giving Frankenstein vibes.
in the trailer
Yeah.
she said something like, "I'm enjoying being alive" or something like that. So
Yeah. You know
Okay,
how I
it's
can
kinda-
tell you're both not youths?
Huh.
You used the word vibes after you said it's giving Frankenstein. All you had to do is say it's giving Frankenstein. They dropped the vibes off the end of that.
oh, I forgot they
Oh.
did take off vibes.
Yeah.
Not a
Well,
vibe.
no. Funny enough, Emma Stone's real name, I think, used to be Emily. I think before she changed it. I'm gonna look this up because this is gonna bug me if I don't remember this correctly.
I know. I really liked her in the Amazing Spider-Man movies
Oh
as
man.
Gwen Stacy. I thought she was good.
I loved her in those. I was not a huge fan of Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I think he was too pretty. Like he played the role really well, but I think he's too pretty.
I like Andrew Garfield, and I thought he played a really good Spider-Man. But I think Tom Holland has been perfect.
Oh yeah, because
Mhm.
he looks right. He's the right age, and he can play dorky and superhero and very like, hey, I'm a teenager, very well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
I agree.
he's got the gymnast background, so actually does all those flips and stuff on his own.
I did not know that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But my heart for Spider-Man will always be with Tobey Maguire. That was actually my very first PG-13 movie, was the very first Spider-Man movie. And I'm trying to remember the second one of that. Like, who was the bad guy? Was it Harry? Wasn't the bad guy in that? No. What was the son's name? The guy who played him was really cute too. What is his name?
James Franco.
Yes.
Yep.
Unfortunately, he's frequently been associated with talking to underage fans.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Absolutely.
That's a no-no.
not.
Yeah.
What's his brother? What's his brother's name?
Oh crap.
Dave
Dave
Franco,
Franco.
How many Frank? Okay,
who
there's
was
Dave
also
and
in
there's
Superbad.
Yeah. There's so many Franco brothers. I didn't realize there was this many. I thought there was just two.
Yeah.
There were three.
So say James did bad, so we needed another one.
Right?
Well, Dave has seemed to take his place, and he's done well.
Yes, he's hilarious.
Oh, absolutely.
He was in 21 Jump Street also.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I still need to watch that. There's a lot of like really good movies that I just haven't seen, and it's not because I don't want to watch them. It's I haven't had a chance.
It's just that they came out when you were, like in middle school.
Probably.
Oh man.
I was about to say 21 Jump Street came out in 2012, so I was a freshman in high school.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I was a
Get it
year off.
right.
You weren't in middle school. You were in high school.
Get it right,
yeah,
Mr. Graybeard.
I mean, you weren't that off. You really weren't.
I have the same problem because, like, I think about Finding Nemo, right? And I'm like, oh, that movie had to have come out in, like, 2010. No, it was like 2004.
Yeah, I remember.
What
when
the
it came
heck?
out. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that old.
I'm like, that was almost 20 years ago.
Oh my God! Stop.
Yeah. You tell people born in the 90s that their stuff is now considered vintage, because vintage, I think the definition is 30 or more years old. And so all the stuff like CD players, those weird inflatable vinyl chair things that nobody could
Yeah.
actually sit on, those are considered vintage now.
It's been so weird to watch things like Jinkos or those like chokers and stuff like that come into fashion as being vintage,
Mm-hmm.
and being like, and also having been a part of when that was just a thing, to then see it like be the cycle where it's like, oh, vintage is in, and you're like, son of a bitch. Like, you don't even know why you like that.
I know, seriously. I said that about butterfly hair clips. I had butterfly hair clips when I was little, and then I'll see students wearing them. I'm like, why are you wearing these? You're not old enough to wear these.
Right?
I do like it when stuff comes back. Like, I know vinyl's always been back. Everyone's like, oh, vinyl's coming back. It's like, no, it's always been back. You literally ask
Yeah.
anybody of any age, they're like, oh, vinyl's always been a thing.
Yeah. It's just, I think the older you get, the more appreciative you get of like the sound that it gives.
I definitely enjoy it, but I also am very much a 70-year-old woman inside the body of a 25-year-old. I'm literally sitting here wearing pearls right now, and I wear pearls every single day.
Nice. I have several vinyl albums, old and new, but I grew up with my dad my dad was born in 48. So he has Beatles vinyls and things like that we've listened to my entire life.
That sounds amazing. I love the Beatles. My dad was born in 1960, and he very much enjoys the Beatles. Our father-daughter dance at the wedding was to Here Comes the Sun, because that's my favorite Beatles song. Yeah, his favorite song though, and I'm like, why do you like that one? And I get it, but it's A Day in the Life.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I get it too. And I'm just like, of all the songs you could have picked, okay.
It is such a weird song.
They would have made so much more money if they split it in two, but that wasn't the point.
Well, apparently it was two songs at one point.
I love that. I need to see if I can find it on vinyl, because I have Abbey Road. I really wanted an original Abbey Road vinyl, and I found one at an antique store, which I love going to antique stores, but I found it, and it just sounds so much better. Like, I know that's what everybody says, but it just sounds...
Yeah, I get nostalgic for time periods I didn't exist in, like the 50s and the 60s. When I start listening to music like that, I start thinking, man, what I wouldn't have given to lived in a time like that.
Oh, you and me are speaking the same language. I seriously always say to my dad, it's like, I think I was born in the wrong time. I would have thrived in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. I stop right at 1960. The only reason I put up with the 70s is because of ABBA. That is the only reason I put up with the 70s. And I put up with the 80s even less.
I'll say that a lot of the movies that came out of the 80s were top. They were pinnacle. A lot of it had to do with the fact that, we were still using practical effects back then. And I'm sorry, I'm speaking old man snob now, but like practical effects to me, even if they're not good practical effects, are better than CG.
Oh, I absolutely hate CG. Like that, I'll go to a movie today and it's like, this sucks. I hate this. There is a movie coming out that I'm really excited for, and they're not using a ton of CG with it, which I'm so excited. They're turning the Broadway musical Wicked into a movie. And they could have done, and the sets are really elaborate. They could have done computer generated sets, but no, they're filming in London. They have built the entire Munchkinland town. Ariana Grande is playing Glinda, and her bubble is on a crane lift, and they're not doing a ton of CGI, which I'm so happy about, because it's harkening back to the Broadway show, because you can't computer generate something on a stage.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cynthia Erivo is playing the Wicked Witch of the West, and she's like her skin is actually painted green. They didn't just CGI her skin to look green. She actually sat in the makeup chair for God knows how long. So that one I'm definitely excited for. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. That's a good Beatles album.
Yeah, it is. Tasha, are you not a Beatles fan?
I am. I like some of their songs.
Spoken like
Okay.
someone who doesn't actually know who the Beatles are.
I don't know
Yeah,
much
I
about
like
them,
some.
though.
I literally was just going to be like, okay, Tasha, name 2 songs by the Beatles, and not the ones we've already mentioned.
Oh, darn. Come Together.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. Yep, that's all I got right now.
Hey, that's a good one. That's not a bad one. We'll accept that as an answer.
Tasha, did you have any dreams this week?
I did. I actually had a dream about singing.
Really?
Oh, really?
All right.
Yeah, I dreamt about it was me and Alice, my daughter. We were walking, I want to say through an auditorium or maybe just a school campus. But there were coworkers around and there was like a talent show going on and people were practicing. There are groups of people around the area who are practicing their songs. And they had their sheet music on them. And for some reason, they needed help, or I thought in my dream that they needed my help. So I was like, this is how you do it. So I was sitting there teaching people how to sight read their music for the talent show. And I was looking forward to my spot in the show where I got to sing. And oftentimes, whenever I dream of performing, I never get to perform. There's always like a buildup of me about to perform, and then something happens and I don't get to, and I'm let down.
That's unsatisfactory.
I
Dang,
know.
that really
Like,
sucks.
I want to show off my skills singing. Okay, my dream me wants to show off, and I never get to. So I'm a
So
little
you said in
salty
your
about it, but whatever.
yeah, you said in your dream there were coworkers there. I hope to God I wasn't there, because I can't carry a tune in a bucket. Like, seriously.
Oh, I can't picture any one person. I just remember having the feeling of familiar people around me.
Interesting. Do your dreams always, like you said, the performance dreams, they always end right before you get to do something? Does that happen in all of your dreams, or just those specifically?
I think it's just in those specifically, unless you count like my being lost dreams. In my dreams, whenever I'm trying to get home, I never get home. I'm
That's
always lost,
horrifying.
trying to find my way. Or in my dreams, when I'm trying to find my way to class, like as a student, like a college student, or even as a high school student, sometimes I'll dream I'm in high school still. I'm trying to find my way to class and I'm late and I'm rushed and I'm frenzied and I never can find my way to the class.
That's not a dream. That's a nightmare.
I know, right?
Yikes.
So yeah, there are some unfinished dreams in there for sure.
Yeah. I think my anxiety dreams always end without like a real legit ending, because I'll wake up and my chest is super tight and I'm like, oh my God, that was awful.
Mm-hmm.
They always end at the absolute worst part. And I'm like, oh, I needed to finish that, because now I'm in the middle of an anxiety panic. And now I'm just like, what do I do with myself? But that's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard you talk about performance dreams. I've heard you talk about being lost, which those aren't dreams, those are nightmares, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Could not
Oh,
deal
I
with
dreamt that I did. Okay, in one of my performance dreams, I did dream that I actually got onto the stage and I started singing, but I didn't get to finish the song before something
that.
happened
Rude.
and we had to stop.
So rude.
I
Whatever.
know.
Like,
I know you like singing. I didn't know that you had dreams about it, though.
Yeah, man. In
interesting.
almost all of my karaoke dreams, I never get to perform. It's like I'm waiting
Well, we'll
my
have to.
turn patiently, and then something comes up and we have to leave. And I'm like, God damn it.
We'll all have to do real karaoke before too long. Then.
Yeah, man.
I was about to say you gotta fulfill your need to sing because apparently in your dream world you can never have that.
So I need it in the real world for sure.
Oh, it's a thing to watch her get up and sing on stage. The last time she, not only did she sing, she also sang the guitar solo.
Okay, I have to ask, how many adult beverages did we have before that happened?
Who knows? I was just going with the flow.
It was
were
definitely a
having
number
fun.
higher than 3.
Probably. Probably. It's funny. I was telling Shelby and Liz the other day, I don't know how we were on this topic, but that one of my fatal flaws in karaoke singing is doing the guitar solos.
I thought you were going to say that you can't do it sober.
You know, I can. It's just I think I'm much less entertaining when I'm sober.
Well, isn't that all of us? I mean,
It's the liquid courage.
I'm dead. That's incredible. My fatal flaw with karaoke is I don't do karaoke. Also, I suffer from secondhand embarrassment. So if they are bad, I will just cringe into a ball and I will just sit there and it's like, please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. You're going to make me melt or explode or something.
Not bad, huh? How about you, Dustin? Did you have any dreams this week?
I did. One made me realize that I have watched entirely too much TikTok recently. The whole thing was like a TikTok video. I was watching from someone who was filming, and it was these 2 dogs. And it was absurd, right? This is something that would never happen. But these 2 dogs were playing baseball.
Okay.
But they were playing baseball in a very dog way, like a way that made sense for dogs to play baseball, but like also in a way that doesn't make sense because they're dogs. So one dog like has the ball in his mouth and he like whips his head and throws the ball at the other dog who has a stick in his mouth, and he smacks the ball back at the first dog. Well, it hits the first dog in the face, and it pops his eye out.
Oh
And
no.
his eye is just hanging.
Oh
And
no.
then they start like running around each other, and the person filming is laughing but also like freaking out at the same time because like he's like, "Oh my god, my dog's eye." But at the same time he's like, "This dog doesn't seem to mind though, so this is kind of funny." And that was all I had. I watched this thing play out, and I was like, why is this what I dreamt about? And I was like, yeah, I need to stay off TikTok for a while.
Sounds like one of those Air Bud movies, except it was just,
So doing horrifyingly wrong.
I know, seriously.
It's funny though. I've actually seen a dog have its eye like popped out and literally didn't seem to care. Like, was just like, ah, I'm a dog, you know. And it's like, all right, man, we need to get that taken care of.
But there are dogs where if they sneeze hard enough, they won't, the whole eyeball will not come out, but there's more of it out of the socket than there's supposed to be. It's usually those dogs with the super short muzzles, like Boston Terrier.
Like a Shih Tzu.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the name for that is brachycephalic, which just means they have a really short nose, and so yeah, that's a possibility. Along with those types of dogs being genetic nightmares, we also have eyeball popping to deal with.
I know.
Yeah.
New fear unlocked for my dogs.
Those dogs, I could never own one because they snore and because they take in so much air they fart a lot.
That just sounds like me. I don't know.
So your spirit dog would be a pug or a bulldog or something like that.
Well, I don't snore as far as I know. No one's ever said that I do. But the farting thing, that's me to a T.
Yeah, we've never heard you snore whenever we went on our Airbnb trips.
Yeah.
So you either don't sleep or you don't snore.
I definitely sleep.
Apparently, according to my husband, I do snore, which I'm kind of in denial about, but I know it's not a loud snore.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Tasha snores every once in a while.
Yep. It's kind of a nightly thing.
It's not as bad as Ernesto, though.
Oh my God, no.
His are what I would refer to affectionately as window rattlers.
Oh my God.
I think it runs in the family because Ivan was pretty bad too.
Oh, yeah. The other night when he was just snoring up a storm, man. Like, Jesus.
I grew up with both of my parents really loudly snoring, and yet I still have trouble sleeping through it.
My mom says she snores to keep all the predators away.
Does she mean animal predators or human predators?
Animal.
All of the above.
Well, I guess it could apply to others as well.
It's like when we're giving a standardized test at school, you always find out who are the snorers, because when they are done, all they can pretty much do is either read a book or take a nap. And I think with one of the tests, I don't remember which one, it might have been biology, but I did have a kid who snored, and the kids were kind of just looking at that kid. So I went over and like nudged them just a little bit, just so they would switch positions. It's like, I'm trying to save you from being embarrassed for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's always the worst when you have a kid snoring in a testing room because everybody's looking at him and then looking at you like, aren't you going to do something about this? He's very distracting. And I'm like, he's okay, I'll try to wake him up. And then you try to wake him up and then he wakes up, but then he goes right back to snoring. And I'm like, this is awful.
And then you have the kids who fall asleep before they're finished with the test. I let them sleep for 5 minutes and then I go over to their desk and knock on their desk. It's like, get up.
Yep.
I remember middle school and going into my favorite teacher's class, who was a history teacher, and seeing someone there from the last class. He was supposed to be there the last class, and he had fallen asleep and he was snoring, but we all started to go up to him and wake him, and Mr. Harden was his name, was like, no, don't touch him. And we're like, okay. So he slept through half of the next class.
Whoa.
before he finally woke up and was like, wait, y'all are not the people I fell asleep around. Mr. Harden was like, you have a nice rest? Yeah, go get you a tardy slip.
That's hilarious.
I had a college professor once that kind of did something like that. There was somebody from another class asleep in the lecture hall, and so we all kind of just filed in very quietly to the lecture hall, and we all just kind of sat there. And like 10 minutes into the class, because we were taking like a quiz, so it wasn't like we were being noisy or anything. 10 minutes in, he wakes up and sees that he overslept and just slowly picks up his things and quickly walks out the door. And then the professor walks over to the door, kind of like leans out and makes sure that the person is, out of hearing range. And then he shuts the door and busts up laughing. And the whole class does too.
Yeah.
We were all just like, why didn't you wake him up? He's like, well, I've done that before with just someone that I know, and it usually ends with me getting hit. So I don't do that anymore. I just let people sleep.
That's funny.
All right. You prepare book recommendations?
I did. So the one that I have for this week, it's the mystery genre, which, of course, it's perfect. And it has got the longest title I have ever seen. It's called Murder Your Employer, The McMaster's Guide to Homicide by Rupert Holmes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of set up like a textbook. Like this McMaster's Guide to Homicide is like a first year textbook that you would get in a college course. And what it is McMaster's is they call it a conservatory of the applied arts. And so it's a secret school. They don't know where it is. And it teaches you how to, they don't call it murder, they call it to delete your most deserving victim. Yeah, it's really interesting. But how they get the story part in there is they give you 3 case studies. They give you 3 characters and you see their story of why they want to kill their employer and how they go through the process of learning how to successfully delete their employer. One of the characters is an engineer, another one is an assistant to a hospital director, and the other one is an actress. It takes place in the 1950s, so the actress was going through the casting couch situation of the 1950s, so that's the main reason that she wanted to get rid of her producer employer, because she had to deal with going through the casting couch and all kind of stuff like that. It's really good. I quite enjoyed it. I read it while I was recovering from wisdom tooth surgery, and I read it fairly quickly because it was so good.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
So it is called Murder Your Employer, The McMaster's Guide to Homicide.
Sweet. So check that out. Dustin?
All right. My recommendation is going to be a little controversial just because of who the author is, but it's a nonfiction book written by Jordan Peterson, and the title is 12 Rules for Life, Finding an Antidote to Chaos. Jordan Peterson is a clinical psychologist with several decades of experience, not only being the clinical psychologist, but as a professor at several universities. He takes an approach at looking at what he thinks are some rules to live by and the science that kind of goes behind them.
Interesting.
Yes, interesting. Is it like a motivational book?
I would say that it is. Most people that have read it have said that they, it helped them. It doesn't come off that way.
Okay.
Interesting.
Nice.
It's a little bit of a hard read because he does tend to use a lot of words that I would say are overly complicated, that they don't need to be as complicated as they are, but he's one of those people that believes in choosing your words carefully.
Interesting.
What's it called again?
For life, finding an antidote to chaos.
Nice. So check that out. My book is another. Actually, I don't know if it's teen fiction or if it's middle grade. Comes off as a middle grade book because it's a middle schooler. So I'll just say middle grade book. It's one of the books I got at North Texas Teen Book Festival.
Ooh.
Simon Sort of Says, and I don't know if it's actually out yet. I think it is, but it's called Simon Sort of Says by Aaron Bow, and it's about it follows the story of a 12-year-old kid who has just moved, so he's a new kid in town, and his reasons for moving, he wants it to be anything but the actual reason for moving. So he tells everybody he moved due to a hilarious alpaca incident at their former church, and that sort of works for him. But the real reason they moved, and it says so in the on the back of the book, he's a survivor of a school shooting,
Oh, wow.
and he is one of the only kids. He's the only kid left in that class. All the other kids did not make it. And
Whoa.
so he was in the spotlight in his hometown and they wanted to get away. So he, at the very beginning of the book, you don't know, even though it's on the back of the book, he doesn't focus on that. And he has the best humor and it's hilarious. Like I laughed out loud reading it, but I also cried at least 3 times throughout the rest of the book. So it's a really heartwarming, family friendly book, even though it's got some heavy topics in it. So I highly recommend Simon Sort of Says by Aaron Bow.
That's really cool. That would definitely be middle grade, but I know middle grade can have some young adult themes in it. That's really, really cool. I remember them talking about that book. Interesting. I'm going to have to look into that.
Now I have to look into yours.
I have a copy you can borrow.
Ooh, sweet. Thank you for joining our podcast today. We were delighted to have you on, Emily.
It was so much fun being on. Thank you for having me.
And thank you, listeners, for listening. Hit them with the socials,
All
Dustin.
Right. So you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Patreon, all of these places. You can find us at What Am Dreams. We have an email address so that you can send us your dreams or what have you at whatamdreams@gmail.com. And you can listen to us on Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, Pandora, and Sirius. I think that's all I usually say.
Yep, I think so.
I think that's it. Okay.
Yay!
Yay.
All right, guys.
Well, thanks for having me on.
I'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, thank you for joining.